Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would already know that the title of tonight's show is Perfect Timing. And that is because today the Sun and Mercury are both in Virgo, exactly conjuncting each other at 27 degrees. And Virgo is the stronger planet because it rules the sign. Mercury is the stronger planet because it rules Virgo. And so 27 is a number that reduces to 9. And 9 is the number of Virgo, and it's the highest of all the single digits. So it indicates that this is a perfect time to perhaps finish or wind up some project that you have been working on, or goal of yours, or any kind of preparations that you have been making that have required steady effort over a long period of time. Maybe you can come to some sort of good conclusion or solution to something right now, which would be great, because there is a grand trine in the sturdy, practical earth signs. The Sun and Mercury in Virgo are trining Uranus in Taurus, and then they are trining Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. So practical matters take precedence, because that is what the earth signs rule. So we all have got to sort of quit dreaming and come down to earth right now and think of things that can provide workable solutions or answers to things. After all, Virgo does rule the 6th house of work. And so this can't be too hard right now, because this can be a time when you can be finishing up some kind of training that can prepare you for a new start, or you can be finishing up a period of lengthy discussions with others, trying to sort of feel your way or decide what to do in some future action. And so your timing is perfect on that as well. And so this, if there was ever going to be a time when you could find a suitable or workable answer to a complex problem, it is right now. And that's because the timing is so perfect. That's because the planets are so well placed. And so when I say workable solution, all I mean is that when you're negotiating something, if somebody offers to say, well, I'll do this if you do that, your reply might be, that works for me. And that's all you have to say. So that is really great. And this is a perfect time to sort of meet in the middle or get together. It doesn't mean everybody gets everything they want, but it does mean that some sort of workable solution or answer can come about, and the timing is perfect on that. However, there are going to be some winners and losers. And the reason why is because there are going to have to be some trade-offs. And the reason for the trade-offs is because there are 5 planets in a harsh T-cross among the fixed signs. And generally, fixed signs are pretty stubborn and don't budge. So in order to time something perfectly, to reach a solution or get some answers, you're going to have to realize that trade-offs will have to be made, particularly among people who are strong in the 4 fixed signs, which are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And that is because Venus and Jupiter are in Scorpio, and they are opposing Uranus in Taurus. These are the 2 fixed financial signs. And Venus is the ruler of Taurus, but it's opposing the sign it rules. That's not too good. And then these 3 planets are all being squared harshly by the Moon and by Mars, which are both in Aquarius, and the Moon is actually conjuncting the unlucky south node of the Moon in Aquarius. And so the Moon, which is very passive and peaceful, and Mars, which rules aggression, are not too happy when they're together, and they are in the sign of the future. And so there's going to have to be some trade-offs in order for people to have a better future. And as long as you realize that, then things can actually work out, and this can still be a perfect time to resolve something. But if something isn't resolved in financial terms, it might be because a person can be very jealous or greedy right now. It might be a woman, since the moon and Mars are together in Aquarius and they are squaring both financial signs. But a bigger problem is the fact that Mars is at 2 degrees of Aquarius, sign of the future and of computers and cyber attacks, and Mars rules aggression. And it is precisely squaring Uranus, another malefic planet ruling sudden surprising change and volatility, in Taurus, also at 2 degrees. The harshness of this square simply means that there can be criminal fraud or theft going on right now, and that's why it's very important for everyone to guard their financial and health records so that they don't fall into the wrong hands. But nevertheless, this is really a perfect time to finish or wind up or resolve some issue and get the answer to some sort of complex dilemma that has been hanging in limbo for far too long. This is a time when you can really work at getting beyond that if you want to. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, once again, there are no planets in the fire signs, and there are 2 in the earth signs. One of them is your ruler, Aries, and that's because both Mars and the moon and the unlucky south node of the moon are in Aquarius, and they are sextiling your sun. So because there are no planets in the fire signs, I don't think that you're exactly a ball of fire right now, Aries, but you could be, instead of making outward motion or taking action on something right now, you could be planning something, and it could have something to do with your future. It could be a trip that you want to take. It could be something fun that you want to do, or it can simply be that you're planning on how to respond to pressure from other people who are older or more experienced, since Saturn and Pluto are in Capricorn squaring your sun, and they could be demanding that you work a little harder. Well, you could perhaps come up with a good workable solution to how all that can occur, which would be good, Aries. But instead, this is a better time for you to simply sort of sit back and plan things right now, because I want to assure you, Aries, it's better to have all your ducks in a row and think about things a little bit right now and try to come up with some solution for future ideas or projects, because Jupiter is coming into Sagittarius and will trine your sun starting in November, and it will trine your sun for a whole year. So 2019 is going to be a good year for you, Aries. So why not just take some quiet time now to figure things out? That would be great. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is a time when you can certainly take advantage of the fact that the timing is great to find an answer or a workable solution to something that's been hanging in limbo for far too long. And the reason why you are so well aspected to come up with a good working solution to things is because there is a grand trine in the earth sign. So Mercury and the sun in Virgo are trining your sun, and so are Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn, and they're trining Uranus, which is in your sun sign. So you can be as practical as you want right now, and you can be a really good problem solver, Taurus. But at the same time, you'll have to adjust to making trade-offs. And the reason why is that there are harsh aspects to the financial signs, and yours is a financial sign. So Mars and the moon in Aquarius are squaring Uranus in your sign, and Venus and Jupiter, the 2 best planets in the heavens, and Venus is your own ruler, are in Scorpio, and they are opposing Uranus in your sign. So I assure you, Taurus, that in order to come up with a logical answer to something or a workable solution to something that's been going on for too long and needs to be resolved, you're going to have to make trade-offs. And that is because if you dig in and get stubborn and decide that you are going to have everything your own way, you will end up with nothing. And so a trade-off is necessary for you to even get 1 or 2 of your highest priorities, but you certainly won't get them all because the aspects are too harsh among the fixed signs. So really try to work with somebody instead of against them in order to work out something where you get at least 1 or 2 of your choices. while realizing that at this present time, you're not going to get everything. But something's better than nothing. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, this is a time when you could certainly be prompted by other people who can be sort of revved up right now, or they might be greedy, or they might be jealous. And that is because Mars is in Aquarius. It rules things like that. And it is joining the moon, which rules our feelings and women. And those two planets are trining your sun. So it can be that somebody who's got some huge problem right now wants to lay it at your doorstep, Gemini, and I urge you to step back and just be a little bit too busy right now. Not because you don't have a willingness to help others, you do. Or not because you can't think of some quick solution, you always can do that, but because this is a time for everyone when it can be perfect timing to come up with a solution or an answer to a complex problem or dilemma. And it can be a workable solution or a logical answer to something. That is what you need to concentrate on. And that would be a dilemma or a solution that is a problem of yours, Gemini. This is not the time to take on problems of others, because then you're never going to get your own problem solved, okay? And so, you know, you have to sort of keep other people at arm's length right now. We all have to do our own thinking. We all have to come up with some workable solution right now because the timing is so perfect for that. But you can't do it for somebody because they have to be willing to do it themselves, and it's up to them. So if I were you, I'd step back and really put a thinking cap on and try to solve your own problems right now, because I think you're going to come up with some answers that could do you some good. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, this is a time when you are certainly going to benefit greatly from timing something perfectly. So what could it be? It could be something that has sort of, you've been working on for a while. It could be the completion of some training, additional training, or a project that you've been working on, or it could be the conclusion or the consensus coming from a lot of different people that you've had discussions with, and now is a perfect time for you to come up with a workable solution or an answer to something that has been a question that has been hanging in limbo for too long. And you really are going to be able to do that. And one of the reasons why you're going to be so successful, Cancer, is because I think there's more money coming your way, and it would be good money. It could be money that you have invested and now you want to use in a different way. Well, that's fine, it's yours. Or it could be money that's coming from somebody else, either an employer or an individual or an organization. And it could be well-deserved. It could even be an inheritance, because Venus and Jupiter in Scorpio are trining your sun, and so is Neptune in Pisces. So I think it's all systems go for you right now, Cancer. And that is because even if you're having to respond to the demands of others, it's only to bring out the best in you. So I think that whatever you undertake right now, this is the time to do it, Cancer. You just go right ahead, because you're going to be well rewarded for your efforts. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, remember I said that the reason why there can be some arguments about money or financial terms is because there's a harsh T-cross among the fixed signs, and yours is a fixed sign, Leo. And in fact, all 5 planets in the fixed signs are squaring or opposing your sun sign. And that means that Venus and Jupiter in Scorpio, a fixed financial sign, are squaring your sun. So is Uranus in Taurus. And there can be problems that you're facing because Mars and the moon in Aquarius are opposing your sun sign. And that means that you sure can't please everybody right now, Leo, particularly other people who have their emotions sort of stirred up or who could be jealous or greedy. You really need to stay away from those people, Leo. And so what you really should try to do, since there are no planets in the fire signs right now, is that you should back away from getting into any kind of confrontation. Believe me, if somebody wants to argue with you now, they'll want to argue with you later, so don't argue now. Just put them off. And instead, really try to come to some sort of logical, simple, workable solution or answer to a problem that has been hanging in limbo too long. And the way to do that is to realize you'll have to make trade-offs, or you won't get anything. In other words, the problem will get worse, not better. And so you're going to have to make some trade-offs. You're going to have to give something up. You're going to have to say, all right, I'll have to change my priorities, because you won't get everything. But a trade-off is better than nothing, and it helps solve the problem. Even if it doesn't solve the whole problem, it solves part of it, and that can be good for you, Leo. So I hope you go forward and sort of do the sensible thing right now for yourself. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time when you have a lot going for you, because the sun and your ruler, Mercury, are both at 27 degrees in your sign, and 27 reduces to 9, your own number, Virgo. And these two planets are trining Uranus in Taurus and Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. So this is certainly an optimum time to come up with some good answers to problems that haven't been solved yet, or to come up with some sort of solution after a lengthy discussion with people, something that will sort of work for you, Virgo. So it's got to make common sense, because common sense is ruled by your sign. So if you can do something in a simple way that can be of service to others, I urge you to go ahead and do it. But it doesn't mean that you can trust everyone right now, and that's because Neptune in Pisces is opposing your sun sign. And so I think that if before you make any kind of major decision or sign anything, you really need to get your information verified from an outside source before you believe it, Virgo. But otherwise, if you're coming up with practical answers to things, this is the right time to do that. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a really good time for you not to be sitting on the fence, not to be undecided, but to go ahead and maybe spend a little bit more money on something you want to do, Libra. And I think the money's around, because Venus, your ruler, and Jupiter in Scorpio are right ahead of your sun sign. The reason why I urge you to concentrate a little bit more on something that would make you happy right now, or help you in some practical way, maybe some sort of self-improvement, is because Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn are still squaring your sun, and that those planets can be rather demanding, and it simply means that you may have to go back and try something again and again to get it right in order to satisfy people who are very experienced and sort of high up. And I would give that my best effort, Libra, because there could be some good reward for that, for you in that as well. And I think that that can make you concentrate a little bit more on doing something that's good for yourself. And you should try that instead of trying to respond to other people's poor me tales right now. And the reason why is that Mars and the Moon, which are not happy together, but they are together now in Aquarius, are trining your sun. So somebody could lay their sad tale of woe at your doorstep, Libra, and rather than you become consumed with their problems, maybe you could either throw a little money at the problem, or you could simply evade that right now and simply keep working on self-improvement yourself. And if you need to spend a little money on yourself, I think you've got it. So I wish you'd do that instead, because the timing is perfect for that. Remember, the timing is perfect to have all kinds of workable solutions come about, or good answers. So I think you're going to have some. All right, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, Venus and Jupiter, the two best planets up there, are both in your sun sign, and they are trining Neptune in Pisces. So there don't have to be arguments about money or financial terms right now. Things could work out in an amicable way, unless you're running into somebody who can be either jealous or greedy, or it can be that you may be entering into some sort of financial discussions with somebody, possibly a woman, who doesn't know what their future holds for them, so they're going to stall any kind of talks about money until they can figure out what they're doing. that isn't too considerate for you, but it could happen. And the reason why is that the moon and Mars in Aquarius are squaring Venus and Jupiter in your sign. And generally when Mars and Venus square each other, it means men and women are not getting along too well. So you could run into problems that way or delays. And then Uranus in Taurus is opposing the wonderful planets in your sun sign. So it doesn't have to be something where people are fighting or having to make trade-offs, but it might end up that way for you, Scorpio. And so you really should sort of decide what is your highest priority, stick to that as long as you can, and be willing to trade off something else instead, just so that you can bring a discussion to a close. And so you can sort of move beyond it and get on with your own future, which would be great. That's the way you should go. All right, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, this is a time without any planets in fire signs when you may not be sure which direction to go in right now. And that's all right. It's okay to take a time out or a little bit of a breather, because just like Aries, you really should be instead thinking a little bit more of what comes next in your life, Sagittarius. And the reason why is you have to spend some time quietly planning whatever you want to do for next year. And the reason why is that Jupiter is coming into your sign. It is your own ruler. It's very strong in Sagittarius. And it will come in on November 8th and stay in your sign for a whole year. You're going to have a great year next year, Sagittarius, but you need to get ready for it. So this is a good time for you to sort of slow down and think of practical solutions to things that have been hanging on too long in your life. Maybe there's a health problem that you really have to do something about. Well, now's a great time, Sagittarius. What are you waiting for? Or it can be that there are some people that you're not sure you can trust. Well, don't waste any more time on them until they can prove their worth. So you don't have to sit on the fence with them either, but you do have to plan your future activities a lot more carefully, particularly for next spring. And so if I were you, I'd give a little bit more thought to making your dreams and hopes and wishes come true right now, Sagittarius, in a practical way. Because remember, the planets are based in a way that practical matters take precedence right now. So I would say that has a lot to do with money and with health and with long-term rewards. You could think about those. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a very good time for you because, once again, there aren't any planets in any of the other cardinal signs. So Saturn and Pluto in your sign are extremely strong. Saturn rules your sign, so it's at home in the sign it rules. And they are being tried beautifully by the Sun and Mercury in Virgo at 27 degrees today, and also by Uranus in Taurus. And so there is the possibility that you could get some sudden good news about some sort of investment or about money or even about a retirement plan that is worth a little bit more right now. Maybe it has increased in value. That would be great. Or it can be simply that you are really thinking about practical solutions to things. I think you're getting about ready to take the next step on your journey toward fulfillment, Capricorn. In other words, I think you're getting real serious about doing something that you've always wanted to do, and maybe you've been a little quiet about it, but you really do want to get going on it. And I think this is the perfect time for you to do that. Remember, that's what the title of the program is, Perfect Timing. So go after what you want to work on right now. Yes, it would involve work, but then your sign likes to work. And so don't waste your time, Capricorn. Have faith in yourself and get in there and do what you want to do. I think you're going to be successful, and this is the right time to get serious. Okay, what does it mean to Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, you really could be quite stirred up about something right now. And the reason why is that Mars is an aggressive planet ruling war, greed, hate, jealousy, and envy, and aggression. And it is conjuncting the moon, the gentle little moon that rules our feelings and rule women. And that moon is conjuncting the unlucky south node of the moon. What does that mean for you? It simply means you could run into somebody that wants to make your life miserable right now, Aquarius. Or you could have some sort of problem that you didn't ask for at all, but it's just going to land on your doorstep anyway. It may be related to finances, because that moon and Mars in your sign are being harshly squared by Uranus and Taurus, so there can actually be criminal theft or fraud connected with financial affairs or health records, so you need to guard that. And then Venus and Jupiter in Scorpio are squaring the planets in your sign, which means that men and women are perhaps not seeing eye to eye on everything right now. So since yours is a fixed sign, it simply means if you want to have your way on something, Aquarius, it simply means you'll have to make trade-offs to get it. And you won't get everything that you want. None of the fixed signs will right now. But you can get some of the things you want, and then the rest, I hope you can find a workable solution, because the timing is perfect to come up with answers that have been hanging in limbo for way too long. And you can do that, and particularly if you concentrate on it and agree to a trade-off. That's the only way you'll get anything. If you don't agree to a trade-off, you'll get nothing. And believe it or not, there won't be anything if you're not agreeing to a trade-off. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time when you really have to face facts, because that Sun and Mercury in Virgo are opposing Neptune in your sign, and they are very strong. They're both at the 27th degree, which is a degree that means that we have to finish things and we have to come to some sort of conclusion. We certainly have to face facts right now, particularly you, Pisces. And I think that since Venus and Jupiter are in Scorpio trining Neptune in your sign, it simply means that there doesn't have to be a fight about money with you, Pisces. In other words, you could have the best intentions. You could go ahead and deal with a financial matter in an amicable way, because whoever else is involved could have the best intentions too. My advice to you, Pisces, though, is that I think that you should think about ending something or finishing something or winding it up. And since yours is a double-bodied sign, Pisces usually like to have two of everything. But that is not anything you can afford anymore, Pisces. And that is because Mars is in Aquarius right behind your sun sign, which means in the background of your life, there is trouble brewing. And it could be explosive, and it could involve a woman who is not a happy camper right now. And so I suggest that you sort of go back to the tried and true. It may not be exciting, but it has stood the test of time, and it is safe. There's no danger in that. So I hope you think about it. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show, read our blog, and hear our podcast on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.